You're tired of watching life open doors for other people. The right family, the right mentor, the right money, the right nine. And then there's you. Same ambition, different starting line. You tell yourself you'll just work harder. But deep down, one question keeps returning. What if having no support makes my dream impossible? Here's the truth. No support does make the road harder. But it also forces something most people never build. A self that belongs completely to you. Before we go deeper, tell me where you're watching from. Most people think confidence comes from inside. But for many people, it doesn't. It comes from years of support. Someone believed in them early. Someone told them they were capable. Someone opened a door. Someone gave advice when they were lost. And slowly, they absorbed that voice. After enough time, it started to feel like their own confidence. That's not wrong. That's how support works. But here's the hidden problem. If someone else helped build your sense of self, then part of that self depends on them, their approval, their guidance, their reflection. So what happens when that disappears? Many people don't know who they are without the people who validated them. But you were forced into a different path. You had to decide without applause. You had to fail without a safety net. You had to keep going without someone reminding you that you could. And yes, that hurts. But it also does something powerful. It forces you to ask, who am I when nobody is clapping? That question is painful, but it is also rare. Because most people never meet themselves without noise around them. They are always surrounded by opinions, support, advice, and approval. You had less of that, so the silence got louder. And in that silence, something started forming. Not quickly, not comfortably, but honestly. A self that does not depend completely on outside validation. A self that had to learn how to stand. But silence has a danger too. Because when nobody is there to support you, something else shows up. And if you don't face it, it can destroy you from the inside. When support is missing, you meet the part of yourself most people avoid. The shadow. The shadow is everything you don't want to admit. The anger, the grief, the jealousy, the fear. But it is also the hidden strength, the buried desire, the version of you that never had permission to exist. Most people avoid this part of themselves with noise. They stay busy, they scroll, they talk, they chase goals, they keep moving. But when you have no support, the noise starts to fade, and suddenly, you hear things you were trying not to hear. Maybe your ambition is not only ambition, maybe it is resentment, maybe your independence is not only strength, maybe it is fear of needing anyone. Maybe your grind is not only discipline, maybe it is a way to prove people wrong. This is where many people break, because they don't know what to do with the truth. So they choose one of two traps. The first trap is bitterness. You start believing life is unfair, so there's no point trying fully. You use your lack of support as proof that success is impossible. And yes, it may be unfair. But if that becomes your identity, it steals your power. The second trap is fake strength. You tell yourself you need nobody. You turn isolation into pride. You stop asking for help, not because you are strong, but because you are afraid of being disappointed again. Both traps look different, but they do the same thing. They keep you stuck. One says, I can't move because no one helped me. The other says, I don't need anyone, so I'll never open up again. Neither is freedom. Real strength is different. It says, yes, this was harder for me. And also, I still have agency. That balance is everything. And once you learn it, the pain starts becoming pressure. And pressure, when used correctly, builds something support never can. Support helps people move faster. That is true. Connections matter. Money matters. Mentors matter. Open doors matter. Pretending they don't is dishonest. But here's what people miss. What support gives you quickly. Struggle can build deeply. A supported person may move faster because someone handed them direction, but you had to find direction. A supported person may feel confident because someone believed in them, but you had to test your own belief. A supported person may recover faster because someone caught them, but you had to learn how to stand back up alone. That creates a different kind of strength. Not loud strength, not motivational strength, structural strength. The kind that doesn't collapse when approval disappears, because it was not built from approval. It was built from necessity. Every decision you made alone taught you something. My judgment can function without permission. Every failure you survived taught you something. I can fall and still continue. Every silent season taught you something. My worth cannot depend only on who sees it. That is not a small thing. That is an inner foundation. And once that foundation is real, nobody can remove it. Because nobody gave it to you. This is why your path may look slower from the outside. But inside, something stronger is forming. Other people may be building on borrowed ground. You are learning to build on your own. But this only works if you stay conscious, because pressure does not always create growth. Sometimes pressure creates bitterness, sometimes it creates numbness, sometimes it creates isolation. So you must ask yourself honestly, is this pain making me sharper or harder? Sharper means you are learning. Harder means you are closing. Sharper means you are becoming clear, and the difference matters. Because the goal is not to become someone who needs nothing. The goal is to become someone who knows who they are, even when support is missing. That is real autonomy. But now comes the final question. If no one is coming to define you, who are you becoming? At some point, you have to stop asking, can I succeed without support? And start asking, who am I becoming while trying? Because that is the real transformation. Not just success, not just achievement, not just proving people wrong. The real transformation is becoming someone whose identity is no longer borrowed. You stop waiting for someone to tell you that you matter. You stop waiting for permission. You stop needing every step to be confirmed. You begin to trust the quiet evidence of your own life. You made it through things. You kept going. You learned in silence. You built without applause. That means something, but don't romanticize it. Having no support is painful. It can delay you. It can exhaust you. It can make simple things feel heavier than they should. But it can also force a rare kind of development, the kind where yourself is not handed to you. It is discovered, built, tested, strengthened, and this is where everything changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is left behind. You start seeing yourself as someone who was forced inward, and inward is where the real foundation lives, not the mask, not the image, not the identity built from other people's approval, the real self. The one that stays when the crowd is gone. The one that still knows what matters when nobody validates it. The one that can move without being pushed. That is what this path can create. But only if you do not fall into bitterness. Only if you do not turn independence into armor. Only if you let the silence teach you instead of punish you. Because the absence of support is not automatically a gift. It becomes powerful only when you use it consciously. So here is what you do. Stop asking why nobody came. Ask what the silence has been trying to show you. What desire is actually yours? What strength has been built in secret? What part of you has been waiting for you to stop needing permission? That is where your real life begins, not when someone finally supports you, but when you finally recognize the person you became without it. There is one thing I didn't say at the start. No support may slow your path, but it can also reveal your real self. So today, ask one question. What have I built in silence? Comment what you recognized. I'd love to hear it.